Alright guys, welcome back to another video. This is AstaZora here, and today we've got, well, I don't know what I'm calling this yet. This is a project I'm working on that has taken a few days away from the sheep farm, and I want to show it to you guys. So, it's exactly what it looks like. It's a bunch of trains. So, these little modules can fly away, and they'll be loaded with whatever goods we want to throw on them, or whatever minecarts, or whatever sort of storage we want to put on them, and they'll fly to their destination. Now, this is probably one of the biggest things that I've ever decided to build, and it's pretty lengthy so far. But today we made good progress with a couple of things, namely figuring out the perfect length for these. The perfect length for these is 10, and that sounds strange, but the reason is because it's pushing 11, and for anybody that's uncertain and don't know flying machines very well, I'm just recently got into this, so if any of my answers are wrong or what I'm saying is incorrect, please correct me in the comments below. But basically, a piston can only push or pull 12 blocks. What this means is that if we want to stop this machine, if we introduce 2 blocks to it, it'll stop flying. That would mean that at any point if we added this machine could still fly. Now, we don't want it to do that. We don't want it to fly away while we're in the middle of trying to unload it. So if we introduce 2 blocks to it, kind of like pincers right here and here, it's not going to go anywhere. We remove these 2 blocks. It's going to fly. Now, the second thing that I've completed here is pretty lengthy, and I wanted to show this to you guys because this is a door that I've wanted to complete for a very long time, and this is an 8x4, and it's segregated, or not segregated, separated by slime. It is technically flying machine quality, but I don't want it to be. The original iteration with this was, for the flying machine portion, was to create a flying machine that would attach to it and then pull these parts back in separate portions. But this just didn't seem to be reasonable for what I wanted to complete. This isn't what I wanted. As much that is fast and efficient, it just, there's a couple problems. First of all, we've got to push these off as soon as we get it. So with how honey blocks work, we can't just immediately separate that. And you have to do that before you can push it to fly. And then secondly, I wanted to make it seamless, so once it got back into position, I wanted to spit its block out and essentially drop all the items out, but that's not going to work. As you can see here, it just won't work. So this is the CTD door for crash test dummies. This is something that I've been working on for a long time, and to give you guys some context while I switch worlds, this is something that I've been working on since about 1.13, and I have quite a few other iterations. A lot of stuff I broke down and just completely scrapped, and the problem with anything observer based, which we'll see here, is that it's not seamless. Now, the one I've built now is technically seamless. It's not completely seamless, but it's technically seamless. So the idea with this one is that we can just spit these blocks out, and then the door is shut within 3 fluid motions. Now, this is amazing because I like how quick this is, for one. I like how quick this is. I like the wave pattern this created. And it was just generally a very nice, simple to understand creation. It's fun to also see your logo kind of half above you and half below you. This was amazing. I loved the way this worked, but it just wasn't functional. And it's mirrored also, so the T would be right here, and it's literally been mirrored backwards, I guess. I'm not sure how to explain that. Which means that the C, the way these letters get put down here, it's like the other half could be right over here. But we reached this issue, which is all these pistons and observers and stuff are exposed in the back, and it generally wasn't that pretty. So I spent time working on other ways of using sticky pistons and stuff like that. I even thought about scaling it up, scaling it down, and this was something I was working on, but I'm not sure I ever completed it. I was going to make a 3x3 door that was 3 thick, and that would have been cool. I thought about making construction cubes. Is this something I was working on too? Yeah, here's like a... Oh wait, did this work? Yeah, that one worked. But it didn't open all the way, which that was sad. That was the closest I came to this design, and today I've got a unique door opportunity for anybody that's interested in this kind of stuff. And that is that this represents the door and this is the combination. So this is kind of a combination lock, but it's more of a sequence lock, and I want to dub this a sequence lock. So rather than having to push a button and the redstone do all the magic, you do all the magic and it does all the manual work. You do the sequence for the redstone. So the starting sequence is going to be blue, green, yellow, red. So we're going to test that out real quick. And you have to give some pause between the firing. And then we'll see that it gets sorted. And it spit the block out. Now to undo this, this is where it gets a little complicated. You've got to go red to start this, to pull the block back. So we'll wait for that. And then we need to go yellow, orange. That's going to power this one and then power this one. If you put them too quickly, it won't work. So we have to be careful. Now this is the 3, so we have to do green, lime, yellow. And lastly, we do the first 4. Blue, cyan, green, lime. Now this was pretty simple to get started. It seemed like it was going to work, but we had one more thing to complete. We have 4 strips that we have to work with. Now, I believe we've probably got one stuck in here. No, okay. So, sometimes we get items stuck in here, so the system isn't perfect, which is why I've chosen to do wool. Since sheep are now shearable and farmable, we've lost 4 different blocks in there, which I don't know where they're ending up. Because they shouldn't end up getting stuck twice, which I think they're getting stuck twice, which that would be strange. Yeah, they're getting stuck twice. They shouldn't be doing that. Okay, that's better. So, we had to reach the last step. I'll fix that in a moment. I wasn't supposed to send that around like that. Anyway, in order for this to complete, we had to create the last step in the system. And the last step was to allow it to modify 4 pistons at the same time to complete this door. So what I did was I updated it using Rails. So in the last one, we had the obsidian and the lights. The obsidian represented the lower part, the lights represented the top. However, this block actually powers both, so it didn't really matter the lights were on other than visual recognition that this worked. So we've got our door here on both sides, completely finished, and we've got our system. I locked this. You don't have to lock this. This is just so I can keep track of what's going on. So to open it, we need to hit red, yellow, orange, green, lime, yellow, blue, cyan, green, lime. We could watch it all happen back here. This is a completely manual opening door. This is all you. You have to do this. And I feel like it's kind of fun to kind of see your door only operate when you know what you're doing. So this is a, again, I'm going to call this a sequence door, but I'm not sure if that's ever going to stick or if anybody's ever going to build doors like these. They don't seem like they're going to stick around because this is probably pretty ancient redstone. I don't think I did that right. I guess it did. That's why we have a few a stack of each wool in there, is because some of these are getting stuck in here. And then they get stuck here too, which I'm not sure how best to operate that any better than what it is. So they're getting double locked in here again? They are. So a couple problems with the door exist is sending the items in too fast and, like you just saw, items getting stuck. However, this door is not able to be broken. You're not able to exactly break it because if you know where the pistons are, then you know how the system works. You just have to use the right numbers, which this is the end and this is the beginning. So this is where all the pistons will end, and this is where the door needs. This is the beginning spot where the door would be at, is right here. So this is the red, and your goal's to get to the blue. Because the red does not mean, the red means no access, and I guess I could have done the coloring differently, but you can use anything for this. It doesn't matter what you use in here, just as long as you know the sequence and the combination. If you choose to change the materials to a non-rainbow scheme, then you can basically make this a combination sequence lock, which requires you to know what items mean what and where they go and in what order. They have to be stackable. They can't be unstackable unless you plan to make a bunch of unstackable items filters, which I'm not sure would work here. It does take up quite a bit of space, but with what I'm doing over here, I think that it's going to be worth it. So we're going to see what happens with the rest of this build, but lastly, there are 10 train tracks. So in the next video, if I can get another one out of this, I'm going to try to have an unloading system that will stop these trains, these honey trams, if you will. We'll stop them somewhere along the track to the pre-designated stopping position, and then when it reaches that, we can then unload all the it's probably best if I show this so that people understand what I'm doing here. Actually, I think I've got something already pre-built for this. I've done a lot in this world, so I forget what's here. Yes, so the idea is we simply have, and I've been making videos like this for a while with these, where this is a honey tram destination. This cart will literally go all the way over here to this destination, which is self-operable. This is a big system that I managed to create, and I will run you guys through the process of it really quickly. So there are 3 circuits, 4 if you count the monostable. So this will all kick into gear in just a moment. So first of all, it's going to update that monostable. It's going to start a pulse. It's going to update this clock. All these carts are going to get shut off and send that back within the same motion. And then there's a hopper timer down here that unlocks these carts and sends them into a storage, which there's an updated detector down here to update. To know when to update this, it sends the carts out at just the right time. So you don't have to have that part in here, but then all your carts are in a storage system, and you get to pick when they when to use them and when not to. So this system works. So to explain this system, I can do a tutorial for this at some other time if you guys like this. This is expandable up to 9 blocks long, which is why we have 10. The 10th one is underneath the entire system. So it's 10 long, but only 9 of these are showing. Excuse me. So what happens here is that we have observers that update a normal. This would be a normal double piston extender, which is what this is. This is a tileable 9-wide piston extender. So it spits the blocks out to this distance, which is what a double piston extender is, 1, 2, and then the carts realize they've been moved. They fall into this track, which is already powered, and puts them on the parking brake, the parking ramp, if you would. Then there is this, which has a specific number of items in it. Into pearls, there's exactly 28 in here, which will update to a signal strength of 6, which is one more than what this can read. There's a block here, a comparator here, and a comparator here. So this is your normal, I think this is a etho hopper timer, hopper clock. I'm not sure. I don't know. That's been, this has been around for forever. So when you give this a redstone update, the signal strength of this is going to slowly start rising, if you'll notice the power over on the right side of the screen. And when it reaches that, it's going to go backwards. So it's going to reach 6, and then it's going to go backwards. Oh, actually, it's just a little bit longer of a 5. And then that's going to activate which of these tracks are active. And then it's going to lock again, and it's going to stay there. Now I'm going to pulse this again, just so you guys can see what was going on here for the tracks. Now, the last thing we had to add here was a comparator circuit to only allow this to update once while the honey tram was here. That way it got sent back out. So I'm working on a couple of the small projects. I'm not going to go over what these do. I'm just going to show you what they look like so you guys can kind of speculate on what I'm working on next. There's a lot of projects in here I'm working on, and this will also be capable of allowing people to fly through it. So we might have a smaller ring inside here to get people, allowing subway routing, which would be completely mob free. So you could fly through this even if you had 1,000 ping and you wouldn't have any issue. So that's it for this video. I just wanted to show you guys all the little things I'm working on. This is a lot of stuff I'm going to be building in survival when the time comes. We've got most of this stuff actually ready for this subway system, but we've got a lot of progress to make, most namely digging and then planning the city blocks out. We've still got some of that work to do. Until then, that's it guys. I will see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys like this.